In the vast prehistoric world, long before cities, agriculture, or written memory, early humans lived in an environment where survival depended on constant awareness, instinct, and an ability to decode every sound carried by the wind. The earth was raw and untamed, shaped by climate extremes, abrupt seasonal shifts, and ecosystems dominated by predators capable of ending a life in seconds. In this early chapter of human existence, our ancestors were not apex hunters or masters of the landscape. Instead, they lived in a fragile balance where they were both predators and prey. Their senses were sharper, their reflexes faster, and their lives deeply intertwined with the movements and behaviors of animals far more powerful than anything seen today. But before we jump back in, drop a comment letting us know what time you're tuning in and where you're watching from. We love seeing how far our episodes are reaching. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It really helps us keep bringing exciting topics here on the Primal Roots channel. These ancient humans lived in perpetual motion, not by choice but by necessity, following herds, rivers, seasonal fruits, and safer grounds. Every day began with uncertainty, each dusk with fear, because the night belonged to creatures whose eyes glowed in the darkness, and whose instincts had been refined through millions of years of evolution. This world demanded absolute focus. Every broken branch, every shift in the breeze, every distant roar carried meaning. The early human mind was shaped under the pressure of interpreting these signals, a constant neurological exercise that gradually formed the cognitive foundations of attention, memory, anticipation, and emotional response. The landscape itself imposed lessons. Open plains required vigilance of the horizon, dense forests enforced silence, and caves offered shelter but also hid unseen dangers. Fire, still a relatively new ally, transformed the night, but did not eliminate threats. Predators learned to skirt its edges, waiting for flames to weaken or for humans to become distracted. The world was shared with animals far larger, faster, and more aggressive than those alive now. Saber-toothed cats stalked silently, capable of ambushing with terrifying precision. Gigantic hyenas, stronger and more robust than modern ones, hunted cooperatively, testing human limits. Enormous bears dominated territories and defended carcasses violently, and crocodiles, lurking by riverbanks, remained perfect ambush predators whose attacks were nearly impossible to predict. These creatures forced humans to develop strategies, communication systems, and social bonds that ultimately shaped the early trajectory of our species. The constant threat of predation triggered changes in physiology and behavior. People traveled in groups, cared for each other's injuries, and created roles within small bands. Elder individuals with their knowledge of migration routes, seasonal hazards, and predator activity became invaluable. Children learned early to recognize tracks, sounds, and silhouettes. Fear was not merely an emotion, it was an adaptation, a necessary tool for survival, a biological warning system that sharpened reaction times and decision-making. As humans encountered predators repeatedly across generations, they gathered knowledge that circulated through stories, gestures, and demonstrations. Though language was still forming, the ability to communicate danger became central to group cohesion. A single sign from a lookout could determine whether a tribe lived or died. This early communication carved the first pathways toward structured language, teaching humans to encode complex information about the world around them. Even the environment contributed to the development of intelligence. A footprint near a water source required interpretation. Was it fresh? Which direction did it point? Was the animal alone? Did it seem injured? The mind evolved through constant problem solving, and this mental discipline laid the groundwork for more abstract forms of thinking. Navigation across unfamiliar landscapes further refined spatial memory and planning skills. Every migration exposed humans to new species, new threats, and new strategies for survival. They learned to predict rainfall, identify edible plants, and locate shelter efficiently. Groups that adapted quickly thrived. Those that failed disappeared without trace. Life expectancy was short, but resilience was extraordinary. Strength was measured not only by muscle, but by an ability to read patterns in nature. A distant dust cloud might reveal approaching herds or warn of territorial predators. Circling vultures could indicate a fresh kill that offered opportunity or extreme danger. Even the stars and moon cycles became tools for tracking time and movement. Human physiology also evolved under these pressures. Muscles strengthened through constant travel. Ligaments adapted to uneven terrain, and lungs adjusted to rapid bursts of speed required for fleeing. Skin toughened through exposure to harsh climates, and eyes adapted to dim light. Over thousands of years, this relentless training shaped bodies built for endurance rather than brute force. But the greatest transformation occurred within the brain. The constant confrontation with danger enhanced neural circuits associated with fear, memory, and strategic thinking. The amygdala became exceptionally sensitive to threat cues, and the prefrontal cortex evolved to evaluate risks, creating a unique balance between instinct and deliberation. No other species developed this combination with such depth. Firelight gatherings at night became essential moments for sharing knowledge, reinforcing group ties, and preparing for the next day's challenges. Every scar told a story. Every encounter added to the collective memory of the group. These early humans began to draw mental maps of territories, recognize migration cycles, and identify which regions offered safety or certain death. Their entire worldview was shaped by the rhythm of survival. Over time, humans learned to track predators proactively. They recognized den sites, avoided certain paths, and used smoke, noise, and coordinated movement to reduce dangers. They crafted sharper tools, improved shelter construction, and developed hunting strategies that mimicked the tactics of the very animals they feared. Yet even as humans grew smarter and more resourceful, the balance of power remained uncertain. One wrong step near a river could result in a crocodile attack. One moment of distraction could lead a predator to the weakest member of the group. One misinterpretation of tracks could bring a tribe face to face with a creature they had no chance of defeating. The environment did not offer mercy. It was a world that tested every heartbeat, every breath, every decision. And in this crucible of fear and resilience, humanity forged abilities that would later define civilizations. Problem-solving, cooperation, memory, and attention all originated from the necessity to survive predators that ruled the land long before humans walked it. This was the beginning of the human story, a story not of dominance, but of endurance. Before humans became hunters of the world, they were shaped by the jaws and claws of creatures that forced them to think faster, move smarter, and stay vigilant. This evolutionary pressure did not just ensure survival. It sculpted the foundation of human intelligence itself. Life in prehistoric Africa unfolded in a landscape where early humans lived alongside some of the most formidable predators ever to walk the continent. This chapter deepens the understanding of the dangers they faced, focusing on the complex and deadly ecosystem shaped by lions, leopards, hyenas, crocodiles, and other powerful carnivores whose instincts were honed by millions of years of evolution. For early humans, especially during the long stretch of the Pleistocene, these predators represented a constant presence, influencing daily movement patterns, foraging strategies, and the development of group cooperation. Africa hosted the highest concentration of megafauna in the world, and among the apex predators, the African lion held a prominent place. Ancient lions were significantly larger than their modern descendants, with more robust bodies and more aggressive behavior, and lived in regions where humans frequently traveled. Their hunting techniques relied on stealth, coordination, and overwhelming strength. They followed herds, tracked individuals, and learned to recognize signs of vulnerability among human groups. The roar of a lion in the distance signaled a threat that required immediate interpretation. Was it a territorial expression, a call to the pride, or a signal of an active hunt? Humans who failed to distinguish these cues paid a heavy price. Alongside lions were leopards, solitary predators whose silent movements and extraordinary climbing abilities made them especially dangerous. Leopards could stalk humans in forests, grasslands, and rocky landscapes, and their ambush strategy exploited blind spots in human vision. The ability to leap from trees or emerge from dense vegetation gave them an advantage that forced humans to develop new defensive behaviors, including avoiding certain routes at specific times of day and creating protective sleeping structures. Even in moments of rest, danger loomed. Leopards became notorious for carrying prey, including primates, into trees to feed safely away from scavengers, and early humans were no exception. Hyenas added yet another layer of complexity to this environment. Far from being mere scavengers, Ancient hyenas were powerful hunters with bone-crushing jaws capable of taking down large animals. Early humans frequently encountered the giant hyena species, which possessed even more robust physiques than the modern spotted hyena. These predators hunted cooperatively, used complex communication, and were known for testing the boundaries of human groups by approaching camps at night, attempting to snatch children or injured individuals. Their keen sense of smell allowed them to track humans from long distances, and their persistence made them especially feared. Crocodiles were among the most consistent threats near water sources. These silent predators excelled in ambush techniques honed for millions of years. Rivers, lakes, and marshes offered essential hydration and food, yet they also concealed creatures capable of pulling a human underwater in a fraction of a second. Ancient crocodiles were larger and more aggressive, and their attacks typically left no survivors. Early humans learned to approach water with extreme caution, scanning for surface ripples, floating debris, or unusual silence among birds. Even then, danger never fully disappeared. The terrain itself influenced how these interactions unfolded. Dense forests muffled sound and limited visibility, creating ideal hunting grounds for leopards and lions. Open savannas provided more warning but forced humans to maintain constant 360-degree awareness. Rocky formations allowed humans to hide or gain vantage points, but also served as den sites for predators. Each region demanded a different strategy, and survival depended on adapting quickly. Nights were the most dangerous moments. Without artificial light and with diminished visibility, humans were exposed to predators whose senses were far superior in darkness. The instinctive fear of the dark that persists in modern humans likely originates from these nightly threats. Early humans gathered around fires not only for warmth, but to create visual and olfactory barriers against predators. But fire was not foolproof. Lions and hyenas often circled at a distance, waiting for an opportunity. A flame weakening, a guard falling asleep, or an opening between rocks. The sounds of cracking twigs, low growls, or footsteps in the grass triggered immediate physiological responses: elevated heart rate, adrenaline, heightened awareness. These reactions were survival tools shaped through repeated encounters across countless generations. Evidence from fossils and archaeological sites reveals the brutality of many of these encounters. Bones of early humans often show puncture marks from lion canines, or crushing patterns consistent with hyena jaws. Campsites uncovered in East Africa include remains of human groups that were ambushed, suggesting that attacks occurred not only during travel, but also at night. These findings highlight the constant pressure predators exerted on early human life and the significant role they played in shaping human evolution. Interactions with predators influenced not only survival strategies, but also social organization. Groups became larger because more individuals meant greater protection. Cooperative vigilance emerged, with designated lookouts responsible for scanning the environment, while others gathered food or crafted tools. Listening became as important as seeing, and groups developed shared signals, gestures, vocalizations, and early forms of language to indicate danger and coordinate responses. These behaviors laid the foundation for complex communication systems. Humans also began to understand the patterns of predator behavior. They learned where lions preferred to hunt, how hyenas selected their dens, and which water sources were safest at certain times. This ecological knowledge became a crucial cultural inheritance passed from one generation to the next. The ability to predict danger gave humans a strategic advantage, even when physically outmatched. Over time, humans developed countermeasures. Spears, sharpened stones, and wooden tools served as early defensive weapons. Elevated sleeping platforms reduced attacks during the night. Fire rings expanded to enhance protection. Even the placement of camps shifted seasonally to avoid predator migratory routes. The early human brain evolved in this environment of persistent threat. Survival required integrating sensory data rapidly, assessing risks, and making immediate decisions. The pressure of predation strengthened neural pathways involved in attention, memory, vigilance, and spatial awareness. The constant need to anticipate danger honed cognitive abilities that today contribute to planning, reasoning, and strategic thinking. Fear, often seen as a negative emotion in modern contexts, functioned as a vital adaptation. It activated physiological responses that increased the chances of survival. Sharp hearing, rapid reaction times, and a strong startle response were invaluable traits. Those who reacted swiftly survived and passed these tendencies to their descendants. Through thousands of generations, fear became embedded in human biology. Predators shaped not only physical behavior, but also cultural identity. Early humans created rituals, symbols, and later myths that reflected their experiences with powerful animals. These stories help teach children about danger, preserve collective memory, and strengthen group cohesion. The origins of reverence for certain animals, as well as taboos and early spiritual beliefs, may have emerged from repeated exposure to life-threatening encounters. The interactions with African predators during prehistoric times created a foundation for human resilience, cooperation, and ingenuity. The threats posed by lions, leopards, hyenas, and crocodiles were not isolated events but continuous influences that shaped human development in deep and lasting ways. These predators forged an environment that tested human limits daily, pushing our ancestors to refine their abilities, sharpen their instincts, and evolve into more intelligent and adaptable beings. This relentless struggle for survival laid the groundwork for future advancements, from improved hunting strategies to the early development of complex social structures. What may appear as a hostile world was, in reality, the crucible that forged the earliest forms of human intelligence and cooperation. The dangers faced in prehistoric Africa provided experiences and pressures that fundamentally molded the human mind. In this environment, the early chapters of human evolution were written, each encounter contributing to the long journey toward becoming a species capable of understanding, analyzing, and eventually transforming the world around it. As humans expanded beyond the African continent and entered Eurasia, they encountered a radically different set of predators, creatures adapted to colder climates, dense forests, vast steppes, and mountainous regions shaped by Ice Age dynamics. These environments introduced new dangers that early humans had never faced before, forcing them to once again adjust their behavior, movement patterns, and survival strategies. Eurasia during the Pleistocene hosted some of the most formidable carnivores ever discovered, each possessing traits that challenged the intelligence and adaptability of migrating human groups. Among them, the Eurasian cave lion stood out as an apex predator whose physical strength and hunting abilities surpassed those of its African relatives. Larger, heavier, and more muscular, the cave lion roamed forests and plains in substantial numbers. Fossil evidence suggests that these lions hunted cooperatively, just like modern lions, and their preference for stalking along edges of dense vegetation created deadly ambush zones for early humans. Their range extended from Western Europe to Siberia, meaning that nearly every human group moving north encountered them. These lions were capable of bringing down massive prey, and humans were often seen as intruders in their territories rather than primary targets. Still, encounters could become fatal in moments of misjudgment or when resources were scarce. Early humans had to adapt quickly to their presence, learning their footprints, avoiding certain trails, and establishing camps far from known hunting routes. The dark interior of caves, which sometimes offered shelter, also concealed these predators' dens. Cave lions frequently used deep chambers to raise cubs, creating dangerous circumstances for humans seeking refuge. Alongside the cave lion, the scimitar-toothed cat posed another severe threat. This predator, often overshadowed by the saber-toothed cat, possessed long, curved canines and a powerful body built for tackling large herbivores. Its hunting technique involved delivering rapid, precise slashes aimed at disabling prey quicker than other big cats. Scimitar-toothed cats were ambush specialists, extremely fast for their size, and capable of sudden bursts of speed that gave humans little time to react. Fossils found near early human settlements demonstrate that humans shared landscapes with these animals far more often than once assumed. The presence of these predators forced human groups to alter their daily routines. Traveling at dawn or dusk became riskier due to increased cat activity. Staying near wooded edges, where ambush opportunities were greater, required heightened alertness. Even still, some encounters were unavoidable. The leopards of Eurasia, although smaller than lions and scimitar-toothed cats, remained a significant threat due to their stealth and adaptability. They could survive in dense forests, rocky slopes, and mountainous regions, making them nearly impossible to avoid. Leopards developed a reputation for silently stalking human groups, testing weaknesses, and exploiting any lapse in vigilance. Their ability to climb and drag prey into trees meant that no environment was completely secure. When humans began using caves as shelters, they often found themselves competing directly with leopards for space, and many fossilized remains show evidence of humans killed inside cave systems. Another formidable Eurasian predator was the cave hyena, a massive species distinct from the African hyenas of today. Larger, more muscular, and equipped with exceptionally strong jaws, cave hyenas hunted in large packs, capable of overwhelming humans in open terrain or during nighttime. They specialized in endurance-based pursuit, chasing prey until exhaustion forced collapse. Their social structure allowed them to coordinate tactics that outmatched the defensive capabilities of small human groups, especially those carrying children or elders. Cave hyenas patrolled large territories and frequently returned to their dens with carcasses. Human remains discovered in such dens indicate that encroaching too closely could result in fatal consequences. The roar-like calls of these hyenas echoed across valleys and plains, serving as warnings to those who understood the meaning behind their eerie vocalizations. Moving further into Asia introduced humans to entirely new species of predators. The Amur tiger, significantly larger than most big cats alive today, dominated eastern forests. With exceptional stealth and strength, these tigers could kill large animals with a single bite to the neck. The dense vegetation of their habitat made visibility extremely limited, giving the tiger a distinct advantage. Early humans learned quickly that silence in these woods was often a sign of a lurking threat. The slightest rustle, a broken twig, or a faint shift in wind direction became critical indicators of danger. Tigers rarely attacked groups, but lone individuals or stragglers were vulnerable. To minimize risk, humans began traveling in tighter clusters, reducing the distance between individuals. They developed new strategies for navigating tiger territories, including avoiding thick underbrush and moving more cautiously near water sources. Farther north, humans encountered one of the Ice Age's most formidable creatures, the short-faced bear. Significantly taller and heavier than modern bears, these animals possessed long limbs that enabled surprisingly fast running speeds. Their enormous size made them nearly invincible in direct confrontation. Short-faced bears were not strictly predators, but were aggressive and territorial enough to pose constant threats, especially when humans approached carcasses, the bears claimed. These giants could smell a kill from miles away, and often displaced other predators from their meals. Humans learned to recognize their tracks and avoid regions known to be patrolled by these massive animals. In some areas, these bears were likely the top deterrent preventing humans from occupying certain landscapes. In snowy environments, wolves became another significant threat. Though generally less dangerous individually than big cats or bears, Ice Age wolves formed large packs capable of overwhelming human groups. These wolves were larger and more robust than many modern populations, with powerful jaws suited for bringing down large herbivores. Their endurance and ability to track prey for long distances created circumstances where humans risked being followed or encircled. Encounters in deep snow or during winter scarcity heightened danger. Wolves adapted to human behavior, observing camp activity from a distance, analyzing weaknesses and occasionally testing defenses. As humans crossed into the Middle East and eventually reached Europe, the combination of predators expanded. The diversity of threats forced humans to refine their tools, behaviors, and cognitive strategies. Spears became more balanced and more efficient, enabling better control in close encounters. Fire usage evolved, with controlled burn zones used to deter certain predators from approaching camps. The development of more complex shelters offered protection from sudden ambushes. Early humans also learned to interpret ecological cues with greater sophistication. Bird alarm calls warned of approaching dangers. Shifts in prey movements hinted at predator presence. Tracks in mud or snow revealed recent activity, allowing humans to adjust their routes accordingly. These skills transformed humans into increasingly capable navigators of unpredictable ecosystems. Migrating into Eurasia also introduced harsh winters. Snow and ice restricted mobility, reduced visibility, and forced humans into confined areas where predators also gathered. In these regions, early humans needed to maintain constant vigilance. The risks intensified at dusk, when predators became more active. Firelight flickering across snow created illusions that made it harder to distinguish real threats from shadows. Yet, despite overwhelming challenges, humans adapted. They learned to anticipate predator behavior with growing accuracy. They created defensive rings around camps, placing sharpened stakes or barriers to slow attacks. Their social bonds strengthened as survival depended increasingly on cooperation. Shared responsibility for children, wounded individuals, and elders ensured that no one faced danger alone. These alliances enhanced communication, problem-solving, and emotional intelligence, laying the groundwork for more complex social structures. Over time, humans developed a deeper understanding of the interconnectedness of predators and prey. They recognized seasonal patterns in predator movements, adjusted migration routes to avoid dens during critical times, and exploited brief windows when territories shifted. These insights were invaluable, offering stability in an otherwise volatile world. Despite daunting predators, humans endured and expanded. Their resilience arose not from physical strength, but from adaptability, cooperation, and rapidly advancing cognition. Each encounter contributed to evolving intelligence, pattern recognition, memory, strategic planning, and emotional regulation. These were not simply survival mechanisms, they were the early building blocks of human thought. The challenges faced in Eurasia reshaped human identity. The vast landscapes, powerful predators, and harsh climates pushed humans to innovate in ways never required before. Through these experiences, humans sharpened the instincts and abilities that would one day allow them to thrive in every corner of the world. And as they moved deeper into these regions, they carried forward the knowledge, scars, and wisdom gained from countless generations that had lived at the edge of survival. As humans continued navigating the complex ecosystems of the prehistoric world, the constant presence of predators did more than shape their movements and behaviors. It transformed their biology, psychology, and social structures in profound ways. Fear, once a simple emotional reaction shared with many animals, evolved into a sophisticated mechanism that sharpened perception, improved memory, enhanced cooperation, and fundamentally altered the trajectory of human evolution. This chapter explores how the relentless pressure of living among deadly predators rewired the human mind, influenced the development of intelligence, and produced adaptations that continue to affect behavior in the modern world. In an environment where danger could emerge from dense vegetation, the shadow of a cave entrance, or the stillness near a riverbank, early humans depended heavily on acute sensory awareness. The brain began prioritizing rapid threat detection, developing neural pathways that allowed for instant recognition of patterns associated with predators. The slightest crack of a branch, the faintest shift in wind direction, the sudden silence of birds, all became signals that demanded immediate interpretation. These stimuli activated the amygdala, the part of the brain responsible for processing fear and triggering fast responses. Over time, repeated activation strengthened its function, creating a population whose survival depended on rapid threat assessment and decisive action. This neurological adaptation increased the sensitivity of early humans to potential danger, sharpening instincts that are still present today. The startle reflex, heightened vigilance in darkness, and discomfort with ambiguous sounds trace back to these experiences. Continuous exposure to predation also shaped memory consolidation. Remembering specific geographic features, tracks, or patterns of predator movement became critical to survival. Groups that accurately recalled the locations of dens, hunting grounds, or riverbank ambush sites gained a significant advantage. This requirement for precise memory strengthened the hippocampus, enhancing spatial awareness and long-term retention. Mental maps became essential tools, enabling humans to store and retrieve detailed information about environmental threats. They remembered safe zones, dangerous routes, seasonal changes in predator activity, and specific events in which individuals had been attacked. These memories were not merely individual but communal, shared across generations and preserved through oral traditions and behavior. Over thousands of years, this accumulation of knowledge created a cultural memory deeply intertwined with environmental survival. Fear also reinforced group cohesion. Humans increasingly relied on collective defense strategies, where members worked together to monitor surroundings, protect vulnerable individuals, and respond to threats. Social bonds became vital because isolation drastically reduced survival chances. The pressure of predation created incentives for empathy, communication, and cooperation. Those who cared for injured individuals ensured continuity of knowledge and skill, improving group resilience. The instinct to protect offspring intensified, generating parental behaviors more advanced than those of many other species. Emotional attachment became not just a social function, but a survival mechanism, ensuring that groups remained united against external threats. Language likely accelerated under these conditions. Early humans needed efficient ways to warn others, coordinate movements, and describe dangers. Specific vocalizations or gestures evolved into more structured systems. Over time, these systems gained complexity as groups developed words or sounds linked to particular predators, locations, and strategies. Communication became increasingly symbolic, enabling humans to share abstract ideas, plan ahead, and convey detailed information that extended beyond immediate sensory experience. Predators inadvertently pushed humans toward the cognitive flexibility required for language. Another major consequence of predation was the development of forward planning. Humans could not rely solely on instinctive reactions. They had to anticipate threats and prepare in advance. This required predictive thinking, scenario evaluation, and strategic decision-making. Individuals needed to consider where predators might be hiding, how they moved at different times of day, and what paths minimized danger. Planning extended to resource gathering. Humans stored food in secure areas, strengthened shelters, and created tools specifically designed for defense. The emergence of controlled fire may have been partly motivated by a need for protection, as fire served to illuminate surroundings, deter animals, and provide a psychological sense of safety. Humans learned to maintain flames throughout the night, adding dry wood carefully and guarding embers during travel. Fire transformed the night into a space where humans gained temporary advantage, yet its presence also demanded vigilance. Large predators often circled the perimeter of camps, watching for lapses in human attention. These nightly standoffs forged a deeper sense of collective responsibility. Individuals took turns staying awake, guarding the group, and listening for signs of danger. This division of labor strengthened social structure and encouraged long-term cooperation. Predators also influenced tool-making. Early stone tools improved as humans sought better ways to defend themselves. Spears became sharper, more balanced, and easier to wield. Over time, humans developed sophisticated weapons like atlatls, spear throwers that extended reach and increased force. These tools allowed groups to keep predators at a distance, leveling the playing field and providing a crucial survival advantage. Crafting such tools required planning, dexterity, and mental focus, traits that reinforced the evolution of fine motor skills and reduced reliance on brute strength. Fear, often considered a negative emotion in modern contexts, played an essential role in advancing human cognition. It elevated awareness, sharpened learning, and quickened reactions. When an encounter with a predator resulted in survival, the brain stored the event with exceptional clarity, improving future responses. This process became a powerful learning mechanism. Over countless generations, humans became experts at interpreting subtle cues in nature. They learned the difference between the sound of prey fleeing and a predator stalking. They distinguished fresh tracks from older ones, predicted hunting behavior based on weather, and recognized which animals were likely to attack when wounded or starving. This refinement of ecological intelligence laid the foundation for scientific thinking. Even symbolic behavior may have emerged under the influence of predation. Early cave art often depicted animals, powerful, imposing, sometimes terrifying. These images may have represented warnings, rituals of protection, or reflections of the deep emotional impact predators had on human consciousness. The act of drawing forced humans to recall details, transforming memory into visual expression. This process required imagination, planning, and conceptual thinking, abilities enhanced by the constant struggle to understand and overcome fear. Over time, the predators that threatened human existence also shaped their worldview. Humans began to see themselves as part of a larger ecological system in which every creature played a role. Observing predator-prey dynamics enhanced understanding of cycles, patterns, and survival strategies. These observations contributed to the development of early spirituality and cosmology, with predators often taking central roles in myths and beliefs. They symbolized strength, danger, transformation, and the thin line between life and death. Such beliefs helped communities make sense of a dangerous world, providing psychological comfort and reinforcing social unity. As human populations expanded and tools improved, relationships with predators began to shift. Humans gradually transitioned from being primarily prey to becoming dominant hunters. Yet even as the balance of power changed, the ancient imprint of fear remained etched in the nervous system. Modern humans still carry vestiges of the past: heightened sensitivity to sudden movements, fear of darkness, anxiety in dense forests, and fascination with dangerous animals. These reactions are not irrational. They are echoes of evolutionary pressures that preserved countless ancestors. The constant exposure to predators shaped the human brain into an organ capable of complex reasoning, creativity, and strategic planning. Survival required more than adaptation. It demanded innovation. From these challenges emerged the seeds of technology, culture, and social complexity. Predators, through their relentless presence, became silent architects of human evolution, forging minds that could not only endure, but eventually thrive. The forces that once threatened human survival ultimately contributed to the development of intelligence, cooperation, and the desire to understand the world. In confronting danger, humans learn to shape their environment, communicate across generations, and preserve knowledge. The legacy of this ancient conflict remains in the way humans think, feel, and perceive the world today. The predators of prehistory did not merely hunt humans, they helped create them. As humanity slowly emerged from the long shadow of prehistory, the deep imprint left by predators continued shaping the direction of culture, cognition, and social evolution. The constant threat once faced in the African savannas, Eurasian steppes, and dense forests did not vanish as humans advanced. Instead, it transformed into a psychological and cultural legacy embedded in memory, ritual, and imagination. Even as human groups developed more sophisticated tools, took control of fire, mastered cooperation, and expanded across continents, the echoes of ancient fear remained within them, guiding behavior in subtle yet powerful ways. This final chapter explores how those primeval encounters continued influencing human societies long after the balance of power shifted, and how the emotional, symbolic, and behavioral residues of those early struggles persist into the modern world. Predators shaped early technologies, pushing humans toward innovation that gradually tipped survival in their favor. The earliest stone tools were utilitarian, designed to cut meat or break bones, but as human exposure to danger continued, tools became specialized for defense and coordinated hunting. Spears evolved from simple sharpened sticks into complex, balanced weapons, optimized for long-distance throwing. Blade technologies emerged, enabling the creation of multifunctional tools for cutting, scraping, drilling, and crafting. Each advancement reduced vulnerability and enhanced the capacity to plan ahead. As humans became more efficient hunters, they reversed the predator-prey relationship, turning animals that once threatened them into sources of meat, clothing, and symbolic status. This shift did not eliminate the memory of danger, but recast it into new cultural expressions. Early communities developed rituals around hunts, honoring animals that were difficult to kill. Many groups adopted totemic identities linked to powerful predators, integrating them into spiritual beliefs. Lions, wolves, bears, and big cats became symbols of strength, resilience, and authority. Their images endured in carvings, cave art, and later in mythologies that shaped early religions. These symbols represent not conquest alone, but a deep acknowledgement of the role predators played in forging human identity. Even after humans gained dominance, the brain continued reacting to threats in ways rooted in ancient survival strategies. The startle response, acute fear of sudden noises and dread of darkness, reflect the neurological wiring refined over thousands of years. Many phobias common today, fear of snakes, spiders, heights, enclosed spaces, and predators, stem from evolutionary mechanisms that protected our ancestors. The brain's alarm system, designed to trigger fast action in dangerous contexts, became deeply integrated into emotional regulation. Humans developed cognitive patterns that favored caution, risk assessment, and avoidance of uncertain environments. These patterns persisted across generations and became part of human intuition. They also influenced social structure. Leadership roles often emerged from individuals who demonstrated calmness in danger, strategic thinking, and the ability to protect the group. These traits became markers of authority, shaping early political organization and later evolving into more complex hierarchies. Memory, too, played a crucial role in transmitting knowledge. Groups that accurately remembered predator behavior, migration patterns, and environmental hazards were more likely to survive. Oral traditions became powerful tools for preserving collective experience. Stories of past attacks, dangerous territories, and heroic escapes were retold not as entertainment, but as essential survival lessons. Over time, these stories gained layers of symbolism, eventually transforming into myths and legends. Many of the world's earliest tales describe monstrous animals, hybrid creatures, or supernatural predators that stalk humans from the shadows. These figures reflect ancient fears projected through creative imagination, serving as cultural reminders of the dangers humans once faced daily. The concept of monsters in folklore is deeply rooted in real predatory encounters. Giant serpents, man-eating cats, winged creatures, and shadowy beasts represent exaggerated forms of predators that shaped human evolution. Even as societies advanced, the idea of being hunted did not disappear. It merely shifted into symbolic expression. These myths helped communities make sense of the world, provide moral guidance, and teach younger generations about caution and bravery. They also reinforced group cohesion by creating shared narratives that strengthened cultural identity. As humans organized into larger communities, architecture and settlement patterns reflected inherited fears. Villages were built with defensive perimeters, elevated structures, or strategic placement away from predator hotspots. Fire became central not only for cooking and warmth, but for psychological security. The glow of a fire in the night created a sense of boundary between safety and danger, a concept that continues in modern camping traditions. The instinct to create protected sleeping areas emerged directly from early experiences with nocturnal predators. Even in modern homes, humans still prefer elevated beds and enclosed spaces for rest, behaviors that mirror ancient strategies for reducing risk. The legacy of predation influenced human migration as well. Groups selected routes that minimized exposure, avoided dense forests during certain seasons, and moved in larger clusters through dangerous territories. These behaviors helped shape population distribution, with meaningful consequences for genetic diversity and cultural development. Regions rich in predators often saw slower human expansion, whereas areas with fewer threats encouraged faster settlement. The emotional impact of predation also shaped human rituals around death and survival. Communities developed ceremonies to honor those who died from animal attacks, viewing such events as significant encounters with the natural world. These rituals reinforced social bonds and helped individuals process grief. The fear of being consumed by animals contributed to burial practices designed to protect the body, reflecting a desire for dignity and continuity beyond death. Even in modern society, where predators pose little threat, the emotional weight of their presence remains strong. Wildlife documentaries, stories of close encounters, and images of powerful animals continue to captivate human attention. The fascination stems not merely from curiosity, but from a deep-rooted recognition of shared history. Humans and predators co-evolved, shaping each other through conflict and adaptation. This relationship is still etched into the subconscious mind, influencing behaviors and reactions in subtle ways. Today, many humans live far removed from nature, yet the ancient instincts forged in hostile landscapes remain active. Urban environments may lack lions or saber-toothed cats, but the brain still interprets certain stimuli, sudden movements, unfamiliar sounds, threatening shadows, as potential danger. Anxiety disorders sometimes reflect exaggerated versions of these instinctive responses. Even dreams are filled with themes of pursuit, danger, and hidden threats, suggesting that the prehistoric struggle continues within the human psyche. As modern humans reflect on their origins, The influence of predators becomes clear. Without these ancient threats, human cognition, cooperation, and culture would not have developed along the same path. Predators served as catalysts for the evolution of intelligence, empathy, memory, communication, and strategic thinking. They pushed humans to become more adaptable, imaginative, and socially interconnected. The story of humanity is not solely one of technological progress or environmental mastery, but one of resilience forged against overwhelming odds. The creatures that hunted our ancestors shaped the architecture of the human mind, leaving behind instincts, emotions, and cultural symbols that still resonate today. This legacy reminds us that intelligence was not born in comfort, but in the harsh reality of survival. The predators of prehistory did not simply threaten human existence, they sculpted it. Their presence forced the development of abilities that define what it means to be human: awareness, foresight, creativity, cooperation, and the capacity to learn from danger. As humans look back across tens of thousands of years, they can trace their evolution through the footprints of predators that once stalked them. The story of human evolution is inseparable from the animals that shaped it. From the savannas of Africa to the frozen plains of Eurasia, predators were constant influencers, silent architects of survival, and unexpected contributors to the emergence of intelligence. Their impact endures in the nervous system, in cultural memory, and in the shared imagination of humanity. The world has changed, but the echoes of those early encounters remain alive within every heartbeat, every instinctive reaction, every flicker of fear in the dark. They remind us that before humans became the planet's dominant species, they were shaped by forces far more powerful than themselves. And through that struggle, humanity became what it is today. Don't forget to subscribe. It really supports the channel and helps us bring you more great stories.